There's value in networking.
I like in-person dealing more now with the shows.
There was a lot of foul activity going on, and no one's talking about it.
I feel like I see less patience in the hobby today. And I want to get your thoughts on it. When you hear of the large dollar amounts now around PMGs, what do you think?
What it takes for someone to spend that much money on any card.
Fanatics did something tonight I had never heard about. They have a lottery.
We got you on the line.
Oh my goodness, we're both on the line.
Yes,
I don't think that the fact that they did Be Friends and Jackass is going to have any impact on how they treat sports cards.
You got to let the people know who you're rolling with, man.
Well, obviously I'm rolling with FD.
What's up, everybody? I'm excited. It's Tuesday. So we usually do this on Mondays, but yesterday the home run derby was going down, and I went to that. But today we're here, and I'm very, very excited to have our guest on. We have To The Moon here today, and I'm going to bring him in.
What's going on, everybody? How are we doing?
All right, how are you doing, man?
I'm just chilling, having a good time. Just got off work a little bit ago, and you asked me to come on tonight, and I was super excited about it. So here we are.
I'm very happy to have you here. So let's open up with bring us up to speed, kind of some of the stuff that you've been getting into. What's happening with To The Moon?
Well, obviously, you guys know about in March, I sold To The Moon Collectables to a company called DSS Enterprises, and we've been doing a lot of huge things. I've been handling a lot of the whatnot and the network side of the business, and my buddy Sir Cicada Cards, also known as Jacob, has been handling the front of house and been going to a lot of the shows. We've been setting up at shows. We were actually in Dallas this last weekend. We're going to be at the National, doing a lot of that stuff and really staying involved in the community and just trying to figure out where DSS really lies in the sports card community. We've been, we honestly, our main company before we both got in there was DSS Coins and Bullion. So I've actually been spending the last couple months helping out with that side of the business, and we actually brought them on Whatnot, and it's been booming. So I've been spending a lot of my time over actually learning about coins and gold and silver the last couple months, but still into cards, still love them, and trying to stay involved as much as I can in this amazing community. And we're just going to the moon, baby. It's awesome.
All right. So in talking about Whatnot, how has Whatnot changed the game? For those people that may be watching this that do not know what Whatnot is, talk to them about Whatnot and kind of what the presence of that kind of marketplace, per se. What has that done for selling things? Because traditionally people sold stuff on eBay. But walk people through Whatnot.
I think what Whatnot really offers a seller is an easy way to sell your cards. Maybe you're not going to get as much value as you would on another platform, but you're going to be able to move in volume and you're going to be able to move stuff fast. We like Whatnot here at DSS because of the speed and the 60-second auctions. And I can start something at $1 and it might sell for twice as much as what I wanted for it, or it might sell for less, but at least we sell it and move on to something else. And if you can find your rhythm and build a following on there, you can move a lot of product in a very short amount of time. I think from anyone you talk to on there, it's about the speed. It's about being able to go live whenever you want and always have an audience. I think that's something that Whatnot and a lot of these other platforms have worked on over the last year, is building an audience for you as a seller and being able to get what you want for stuff. I think that's the hardest thing when you're selling something, is getting what you want out of it and being able to sell it fast. And I think eBay and a lot of these other apps like Instagram, people selling on Facebook and Instagram, it takes time. eBay takes 7 days for an auction, where I can do an auction in 60 seconds on the Whatnot app. So that's a huge thing for us.
So I've been doing a little research, and I think eBay just announced that they're going to start doing live stream auctions.
Absolutely, yes. That is something that a lot of people are talking about. I think they're going to be announcing more about that at the National. So hopefully we hear some more details on that. But that is definitely got a lot of people on their toes, especially if you're an eBay seller, because from what I've been hearing about it, it's going to make things definitely shake some things up for sure, especially if you're a big time seller on eBay.
Very much so. Very much so. So we have JD the Collector. What's up, JD?
What's going on?
And we're rolling. It's good to have you here, sir. We got Trader Griffs.
Mhm.
I recently was at a show, and I had an opportunity to meet Trader Griffs. We've exchanged messages, and I see him here all the time, and I really appreciate you, sir, for being here. Good evening to you. We got Feed the Gods. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So to the moon, tell me, you're going to the National.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm not. It's kind of up in the air right now. See, so if anyone else is in going to Atlantic City, there's a lot of things right now that are getting complicated with traveling there. So there's a potential chance that I might not go. But if I don't go, I'm definitely going to try to make the next Dallas show. But this it's a tough location, guys. We were pretty much on track to go, and then started planning out the trip a little bit more. And I don't know, there might be a chance that I might have to stay home this time.
So I've heard, now you tell me, I know you know more, you probably know more about this. You need to, there's certain areas you have to fly into to get to Atlantic City.
So
Philly is one, but walk us through this.
So when we were looking, we live in Nebraska, so this is like, a better spot than if you live in Florida. But we would have to fly into, let's say, Chicago, or fly into an international airport, and then have to fly to like New York or Philly or another airport, and then drive about 2.5 hours just to get there.
Yeah, that's
which involves renting a car or paying a huge Uber cost. On top of that, there's just a lot of costs this year that we didn't even realize until we started really diving in about 2 weeks ago, which were probably last minute planning it. But there's a lot of things on our back end that we've been doing to prepare for this event. We're going to be doing some huge things at the National that I can't talk about yet, but you'll see them on my Instagram.
Okay.
But yeah, and there's a chance that I won't be going because of that reason. But if I don't go, Jake for sure will be there, and we're gonna have a lot of big things going on. So it should be a good time. And either way, I think this National this year, I had a lot of doubts about Nationals this year just because of the way of planning the trip and the location. But just after seeing the Dallas show this last weekend in Nashville, the National is going to be one of the best national shows I think they've ever had. And I think the location for a lot of people is very amazing, but there's a lot of people, like if you live in Cali, if you live in Florida, it's going to be a lot harder to get there than it ever has been.
Now, let me ask you this question, because I've thought about it, and JD and I have talked about this a little bit. I've had some sideline conversations with other people. How do you think the National used to be the biggest show you would ever see? How do you think some of these regional shows, shows in different areas, we're talking about Dallas, Philly, New Jersey has a show that's very nice. There are shows here in California now. Burbank is coming up. Del Mar is happening. Has happened, will happen again in October. How do you think these shows that may be closer to what Nashville we just talked about, that may be closer to where someone lives, will impact long-term their perception of the National or their willingness to travel to an event like that?
If you haven't gone to the National, I've only been once, and just from what I can tell you, it's a whole different show. The vibe, the atmosphere, the vendors, your vendors, I think, are going to be your biggest separation that won't be replaced at any other show. You're going to have Panini, you're going to have PSA, Beckett, pretty much any grading company, any wax company is going to be there. You're going to have all the auction companies in the same room. Not only that, you're going to have all your favorite vendors. And it's a 5-day show. I think that's the one big thing. If you can, take advantage of going for the whole experience, because going to a 1 or 2 day show versus going to a 5-day show is just a whole different ball game. Because you really get to experience a lot of deals. You really get to experience everything you want to experience, and I think level of booths too. A lot of these companies, I know Whatnot, I know Network, I know a lot of these other companies are putting millions of dollars into their booths this year. And you won't see that at like a Dallas or like at a, any of these other shows. The level of the booth is probably one of the things as a consumer that I enjoyed more than anything, because you feel like you're almost going to a museum on some of these booths.
Yeah, it's high level. So walk people through who are going to the National. What are some things they can do to properly prepare for the National, and how they can navigate them? Where we're talking about a 5-day show. Are there different strategies per day? Are there different things you want to think about? Are there some sales that may happen on Saturday and Sunday that you may not see on Thursday and Friday? Walk people through that.
Take advantage of every after hours opportunity you can, especially earlier in the week, trade nights, going out to dinner with friends, whatever it is. Take advantage of that as the early times, because you don't know, by Saturday you might not feel like going out until 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. But if you still feel like hustling, I don't think there's ever a bad time for deals. I think you see a lot more deals, as in buying at better prices, maybe towards the end of the weekend. But for me, when I went last year, obviously last year's a way different market than this year, but it seemed like every day there was deals. There's always another deal. So when you're making those perceptions of should I pick this card up? If it's a card that's maybe a 101 or a low numbered, low pop card, obviously that's when you got to make that decision. Is this what I really want for the weekend? Is this, if I buy this and I don't buy anything else this weekend, am I going to be happy? But if it's just buying stuff maybe to flip, there's always another deal. One of the biggest mistakes I made last year is almost buying too early, and getting to that Friday, Saturday. Luckily last year I was able to turn and burn a little bit of the stuff, but if you're not turning and burning that stuff really quickly, you will run out of money really fast. So managing your money is huge. If I'm going to give you one piece of advice, it's buy some really nice, comfortable shoes. Because
I tell people that all the time. Yeah,
you're going to be putting some steps in, and most of the time the National is concrete, so the floor, I don't know what the convention center there's like, but my feet were killing me by Sunday. Because I wore flops, and I wish I would have had a little comfier shoe. Packing as light as possible too. I was just talking about this earlier this week. So everyone has those slab cases, right? Those slab cases are amazing. But if you can't carry your slab case for more than an hour, without setting it down, there's not a lot of places really to go and sit or set stuff down.
Sure.
So when you're walking around with that heavy slab case for 5 days, 10 days straight, or 5 days straight, and I say 10 days because you have the nighttime too, but definitely make sure you're packing well. Don't bring cards that you're not going to sell. Don't bring cards that maybe you're just on the fence about. Maybe they're like $5, $10 cards. You're like, oh, this is not really the place to bring bulk. That's what you got. That's what you got. Great. But this is kind of the place where you're going to bring stuff to turn and burn it. Whether it's $5 or $100, just you don't have to bring everything you have. If you can just pack maybe 20, 30 cards from maybe different values and organize them, start there and work from there. You don't need to bring your whole 5-row box of everything you have and carry that around all day, and I think that was one of the biggest mistakes I made last year too, is I almost packed too much, and then carrying around for one day, you're just like, man, I don't want to carry this around anymore. Zion cases, they make an amazing backpack. It has a nice storage case.
Yeah.
And they just came out with that. It's probably one of the best things on the market. I guarantee you he's going to sell 1,000 of those at Nationals. The one with the little case in it. He also has a little handbag one that has a little cubby in it. That's great as well. I like that one for trade night. Maybe if you want to bring like 5 cards and not have a huge backpack. Theft is a huge thing at these shows, guys. And especially at this show, I remember last year, people were going up to tables and stealing. It happens at every show, but this show there's a lot of people. So you really have to watch your stuff because people like your stuff. So,
and what people should also know is that these shows are well monitored.
Yes, 100%.
So someone may be walking around with the intent to take or remove an item from a table. That table is under surveillance. I mean, last year at the National, there were signs everywhere that were saying you're on video recording right now. There were
I can't
police
imagine.
officers walking around. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was plainclothes police officers walking around.
I can't imagine the security this year with everything going on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this year in Atlantic City, hopefully we don't hear of anything, but it will not be taken lightly. I mean,
No.
things will be watched.
Yep. And I definitely felt safe. That was never a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a younger adult, I would definitely have a parent, though. I always recommend a fanny pack. You know, everyone, that's kind of my thing. I got it the last year's National as a fanny pack, but man, I saw 3 people drop their wallets at the National, just pulling their wallet out, pulling out a 20, buying a card, and sticking your wallet back in your pocket. You miss, and you don't even realize it, you know, because you're just so adrenaline rush that you just got that deal, you know. Fanny packs are great. You can put all your money there, you know, and then you just have it right here at all times, you know. So,
and another thing I like to say to people too, now you're talking about adrenaline rushes, is that you can get overstimulated at the National.
You can,
you know, so don't be take some time sometimes to walk away, 15 minutes, take a breather, take a break. There are some people you'll find probably, I know I'm more used to Chicago. Some people may just sit right on the floor in a corner. Take the time to breathe, get some water. Don't get dehydrated. They'll be selling water there. You can also bring your own stuff in. Those kind of, it's almost like, think of yourself going camping or hiking. If you have that mindset and you're walking in, you kind of know how to prepare so that you don't hit a wall by like 2 o'clock.
Yeah, huge. You cannot, I mean, you hear it from everybody. Every second, every minute in there is valuable time. Especially if you're going in there, you know, to make a purchase, you know, make a play. You're having to go look for that card, look for those things, and maybe going to the trade night, you could have made that play, but you can't go to the trade night because you're tired. Take advantage of that sleep. Take advantage of staying hydrated. It's going to be hot. So,
are you going to see some cards at trade night that you may not see throughout the entire show?
Oh, that was for me last year. The trade night was where I did the majority of my plays.
So did I. We got there first day, and you talking about spending money. That trade night, I just said, I'm here right now. I see some cards that are different. I'm going to make some investments. And the rest of the show, I kind of did some other stuff. But my strategy flipped because I went to trade night just thinking I'm going to browse around. Never been to trade night at the National. This is like something new. Let me walk around and see what's going on. Before I knew it, it's like, oh, wow. I'm seeing some Brady's here. I'm seeing some Mike Trouts. Wow.
Right. And, you know, and that's the thing, like I said earlier about there's always another deal. You might see something day one of the show and you're like, man, I really want that. But let's say you only have $100, $1,000 to spend. I don't know but there's always another deal, guys. And maybe you can turn that 100 on from Wednesday to Friday. You can turn that 100 into 300. You just got to find the right play.
That's right. Find the right play.
What's
so we got yeah. So Trader Griff says they need to rotate the National around the country. San Diego, Vegas would be great. I feel like I could be very naive. The National has historically been in Chicago. It's been in Atlantic City. 1 year was in Cleveland. It wouldn't surprise me if we start hearing about the National moving to different cities.
I think Vegas could be huge. I saw how the Mint Collective did.
Yep.
And it just really made me, I'm like, man, Vegas would be a great spot for the National. I'm guessing it has something to do with the World Series of Poker, though, if I had to guess. Maybe just a reason why they couldn't do it at this time of year. Because this is a very busy month in Vegas for poker.
True. Hero 3 says, I can make it Vegas National.
Everyone would go. Vegas would be oh, man. Get ready for that National, folks.
Vegas would be something else. So to the moon, do you stay on top of, like, when I say Kevin Durant to you, what comes to mind?
Kevin Durant comes to mind.
Do you think about his free agency? What team he's gonna be on?
Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like a Tom Brady stunt to me. Like, I mean, does it not? I mean, how many news stations are talking about him right now? And
I just want to know. What I want to know is, does he really want to leave? And what team does he think he can go to be in a better situation?
I mean, I don't see him really going a lot of places right now where he's in a better situation than he already has.
Because you would think whoever's picking him up would have to give up so much talent.
Oh, it's crazy.
That he's back to Brooklyn level of talent around.
Right. And, you know, I think when it comes to basketball right now, it's just like football. There's so many stacked teams right now that all of these guys are just trying to be go to the next big thing. But we saw it with the Lakers this year. I mean, it just, you can have every great player on your team, but if you don't have a team atmosphere, it doesn't work.
That's true. We saw that back in the day when Kobe and Shaq brought in Karl Malone and Gary Payton.
Right.
It didn't really work.
You just have to play the cards to what fits you the best. And I think KD as a player still has some life left in him. He just has to find that spark again, you know. I really like KD. I think KD is a great player right now as well.
I think he's a great player. Yeah, I think he's a great player.
But
I don't think I can question anything about him from a basketball perspective.
I'd love to see him go somewhere else, but you know what's going to happen to those players that leave then?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think in the next 2 weeks, hopefully we know something.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. So yeah, Trader Griff's. The National was in Anaheim in the 90s. Very true.
There you go. I mean, they still do that National in Canada every year, and I don't see a lot of people going to that.
Is that the show in Toronto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that'd be a show I'd like to go to.
I would too. Eventually, I would too. Demetrius says Katie's best option is Phoenix. See, I thought the same thing.
That would be huge.
But when this Ayton deal went down, Ayton has to stay in Phoenix until January 15th, I think, of 2023 with his deal. So you couldn't sign Ayton and do a sign and trade to bring in KD.
Yeah.
So that made me think that KD is not going to Phoenix.
I don't know, man. The trade thing in the basketball is definitely a lot more interesting than the football.
Isn't that the truth? When you can sign a 5-year deal, that's always gets me, like you'll see on the station. They'll say, To the Moon just signed 5 years, $230 million, but you're going to play there as long as you want to, especially
right.
So maybe after 2 or 3 seasons, you say, you know what, I don't like being here anymore. I want to move. then most players are giving that out because you want the player to be happy and not become hurt throughout the season like AD did when he left New Orleans.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Coffee Dad Collector. I hope we get a big car show in Omaha, Nebraska. Perfect.
That's where I live. I mean, I love our area too. I just think if they're going to bring it to the Midwest, it's probably going to go to Kansas City. I think that just it makes more sense geographically.
You know what's interesting? Years ago, right? I lived in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
They brought a show to St. Louis.
St. Louis is a good spot too.
Mm-hmm. They had a show in St. Louis. I remember Jim Brown, several other people were signing there. It was a pretty decent show.
Mm-hmm.
A smaller footprint. I think it was just a test.
I think we could have a huge show here. I just don't know if it's going to be like Dallas huge or, you know, I think we could do a 300 to 400 table show here though.
What's the biggest show in your area right now?
About 40 tables. Okay. It's a monthly show.
Okay.
We don't have it like you up there where you can go to a show every weekend.
Well, I mean, I understand. LA is like that, but don't sleep. Of a 30, 40, 50, a 10 table show.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you may find on the table.
You never know. I mean, we've had some of our best deals at the Omaha Card Show.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got started.
I always say the table count is not totally indicative of what you may find. There may be somebody sitting over here with something that will blow your mind, or several.
Absolutely.
So if you have small shows in your area, go to them.
What do you think of the current card set market right now and the whole
I
buzz
think
around?
I'm glad you asked that question. So I'm gonna get to this. I think the car market is down.
Mhm.
We all know that. I'm not throwing out something that, oh, really, FD? The car market is down.
Yeah.
I believe there's still plays to be made, right? I tell people all the time in person. I was at the premiere show here, Jay and Kobe show, and I was talking to some people about this is a time to make some plays on some stuff that we all may have thought is unattainable to us, right? There are some Patrick Mahomes cards now that may be more attainable to some people. There's some Steph Curry stuff. There's some Michael Jordan stuff. There's some LeBron stuff. The LeBron market is totally different than it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, completely different. Some cars are 25% of the face value that they were back then.
It's crazy.
And we're talking about low pop stuff, print run on card.
I think it was his Topps Chrome X Fractor for PSA 10 for 25,000.
Yeah. So these are the cards now that I think people may be able to get their hands on. If you can, I think this is a great market, but let's not sleep on. Even if there's some cars out there that were $1,000 before, let's say they're $300 now. Let's say they're cars that were $500 that are $150 now. These are still some plays you can make. Just so everybody know, Stanton just hit a home run. Tied the game up 2-2. Nationally, it was up 2-0, so it's 2-2 now. So I think when he crosses, it may be 3-2. Ooh. So I think there are many different plays that can be made. Also, if you've been collecting for a while, you haven't seen the market go up and down like you've seen recently, but you've seen trends in the market. And any market, we're talking about stock market, anything you may be investing your money in, you're going to see trends on that. I don't think the hobby is going away. No. What we love is not going away. And I think there's going to be a positive trend on this. Yeah, just gotta hold on.
Hearing from my team, the Dallas Card Show, a lot of vintage. You're seeing a lot of vintage coming out. A lot of people making plays into vintage. It's kind of interesting, you know. I mean, I guess vintage.
You know what that is, though, right?
Right.
Because for everybody out there, vintage is your somewhat consistent and stable trend in an upward direction. Mm-hmm. So if the market is down, your thought is to let's go away from stuff that's more volatile. Modern day basketball, modern day football, football cards that have nothing to do with quarterbacks. Let's maybe move away from that and go to something that I've seen 12, 10%, 8%, maybe 12% over time.
Right. You know, and I was just, before we got on here, I was on my phone looking at Golden Auctions. They set like 4 new all-time highs on cards. You know, that's the stuff that we don't talk about and we don't see, because we see our base Justin Herbert's going from 200 to 180, you know, overnight. It's just, I mean, it happens. You know, when there's a high pop, there's going to be a lot of sales. And I talk about this with guys on Whatnot too, is if I sell a card on here and somebody else goes and puts it on eBay, we're targeting 2 completely different buying groups, you know. A card might sell for 180 on eBay, but it sells for 300 in my room. But that guy might have really wanted that card, you know, but they don't record that Whatnot sale.
You know, I was about to get into that because this is a question. I was talking to a friend in Sin City the other day, and we were kind of talking a little bit about Whatnot. And I was saying that when we look at comps, right, that Whatnot sell price is not reported. So how does that impact comps? Right now, there's no answer for that.
There's no answer. Somebody's going to
get
smart and figure it out. But for that to happen as well on Whatnot, you're going to have to adjust your listings and make the listings per that card. And then there's a lot of back end stuff that it would make it hard. But yeah, I mean, without you manually recording it, I don't know how they would do that.
It'd be rough. Data collection on totality on stuff like that is rough anyway. But it would definitely be rough. But that information is needed, especially if whatnot sells are growing the way they've been growing.
Right, absolutely.
So now let's go back to what we were talking about earlier. If eBay win now, well, eBay gives us more information as a community about their live streams. There's got to be a way to collect that data.
Well, from what I was hearing, how it's going to work is you're basically just going to take an eBay auction and go live and pin that auction, I guess. I don't know how much of this I'm really supposed to be sharing, but
well, if you don't feel comfortable, don't share it. We can talk about it later. I don't want you.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. So
yeah. Let's see. Here.
I've been hearing from sources though that it's definitely going to be revolutionary for eBay sellers that get involved and have a huge following.
I believe this. Yeah, as soon as I heard about it.
If you have,
the irony is, I was talking about this like Sunday, and I was Saturday or Sunday, and I'm like, something's coming. My gut just told me.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with any new platform is building a following, but I think with the amount of users that eBay has, they don't have to go fight for that following.
Yeah, and there's some brand equity there. I mean, I know people talk about shill bidding, things like that, but many of us, I've been buying stuff on eBay since 1996. So,
I'm not worried. Honestly, as a whatnot seller, I think that a lot of these other platforms are going to still survive and still have their own niche. And I think that's maybe some of the reason why you've seen these platforms maybe expand their horizons a little bit more into other things besides collectibles. If anything, I think it's only going to help the live selling aspect. I think right now you're working on selling people on buying something live rather than not watching it, I think that was the first test, but I think with COVID, I think that kind of sped up that process a lot. So
I can see it. And competition is good, right?
Always good. You have to pivot, and that is the hardest thing for a business person. I think we've noticed over the last 6 months how many sports card people now are sellers rather than buyers.
True.
And how many people are taking this hobby and turned it into a side hustle or a business. So with more sellers, you have to find ways to pivot to compete with those other sellers, because that guy, Jimmy over there, might have the same card as you for $5 less, but you paid the price that Jimmy's selling that card at.
That's right. You're trying to create a margin for yourself.
Right. Exactly.
Miguel says, FD, what's your most valuable sports card you have and what's the value? I would say it's probably one of the Steph Curry rookie cards. Value in this market, it's probably a 5-figure card, probably lower 5 figures, but not going anywhere, Miguel.
Not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere.
We talk about scarcity. I actually, being able to buy something, that you didn't think you could buy before at the last Dallas show. Not this one, but the last one, I was able to pick up a Michael Jordan Kobe refractor, the East-West refractor.
Woo-hoo, what great.
8.5. So
man, I love that. That's a great card. I love that card, man.
Yeah, and I was very excited to pick it up because it's a card my dad's been wanting for like 20 years.
There you go.
We actually had the original base one, but we sold that during the boom, so that was our big pickup, and it's worth around $2,500, I think. 2,000 to 2,500. So
it's a beautiful card, man.
Which is crazy because during the boom it was a $6,000 card,
Oh yeah. Well, the PSA 10.
Yeah, those are
doing the boom.
Those are.
I've tracked that card for a long time.
It's a lot,
but it's a beautiful card. I mean, the history of the card and how it looks. That's a nice card to the moon.
Yeah.
Congratulations, brother. That's
that's the nice thing about right now is everything is obtainable when it didn't feel like it was a year ago.
And that goes back to what we talked about before. I'm telling you, I just want to let everybody know, I don't care what level. I've talked to people before who say, hey, I don't have enough money to collect.
Thanks, Abraham.
I can appreciate that, but I think I would always say, I've told some friends, if you start wherever you can start, and you make moves based upon certain players in their career, what does the market tell you? What is their likability? Are you looking at data before you make a purchase? Are you coming up with your own decision-making process? You might see some benefits. You might see some benefits. I have some people that I know who have listened to that device and they've seen some benefits. And when the market turns down, if your strategies are locked in, kind of what you want to do and why, and you have your rationale for it, I think you can still see some benefits. You just gave a testimony of a card that was 3x what you probably paid for it not that long ago. But the history of that card and the players that are on it, I don't know if that's going away.
And it probably is down from when I got it, but I mean, everything goes up and down. And if you're not looking to sell it tomorrow, why does it matter?
Yeah, I agree.
It's not. That's just a card you're not going to see in a showcase tomorrow. So that's a card where you have to make that rash decision then and there and now, and just not worry about the consequences.
And those are the cards that I love. The ones that if you walk past this table, we're talking about the national and other stuff. You walk past this table, you don't make that buying decision, and someone else picks it up. When will you see that card in that grade again?
Exactly.
Those are the cards that I like to add to my PC, because I think now we talk about barriers of entry to stuff. You are somewhat insulating yourself from some things because that card is not easily attainable somewhere else or replicated in a negotiation process with a table just over here. It's just not. It's not like that, and those are the things that really get me excited. And I don't know if you're talking about just big dollar cards. If you're prospecting and you believe in a player, right? I say this all the time to the moon. We know Michael Jordan. We know Kobe. We know Kevin Garnett. We know Steph Curry, right? Who's next up? Who's next up in the world of football? We know Brady. Who's going to win 3-4 rings? Somebody's probably coming. Who is that person? All of us in the hobby are taking our own stabs of who we think these people are. But somebody is going to take the crown and run with it. Who is that player going to be? And right now we're sitting in 2022. We look at in 2032. Who are we looking back on and be like? Because I looked at this, right? LeBron made the decision to go to Miami in an announcement in 2010. All right. Who was talking about Steph Curry really in 2010? Who was saying it was going to be legendary? No one. And there's somebody that's coming or here right now that we're going to look at and be like, man, that person can play. Nobody's really talking about it in 2022.
Right.
Cards may be being produced. They may be on tables right now for a cheap value, cheaper than normal. Do you have the eye to spot that stuff? Because all the cards that we have, at some point, they were sitting somewhere for probably like $100. I read a story the other day. The national treasure, Steph Curry. That's what, $400,000, $700,000 card now? I think it once sold for $720,000 or something.
Yeah.
That card during his rookie year in the BGS 9.5 was $500. It's $500. And we've all seen the video of the guy who pulled the Mike Trout and was looking like he didn't know who Mike Trout was.
Yep.
So that stuff is going to continue to happen. Who has the eye and the wherewithal to say, I know that player. I'm going to at least pick up some stuff. I've seen them play. I believe in that player. And then let it pan out.
On not only that, who has the eye to pivot? If you thought Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow or Tua, maybe Tua's on top this year, who has the ability to sell their Herberts and make put all that money into Herbert. That's the real gamble.
True.
Or who has the ability to do whatever, Burrow was on top last year. How many people were hot on Herbert and put it into Burrow stock?
That's true.
Maybe this year it's Mac Jones. Maybe this year it's Trevor Lawrence.
I know a lot of people that believe in Trevor Lawrence right now. So we'll see. Feed the Gods just watched a sports card investor video, and they brought up an interesting stat. The market since January 1st, the market is down 15.9%.
Wow.
I don't think to the moon. Are you shocked at that number?
I think that's pretty. I mean, looking at my collection, that sounds like it's a little low.
I thought it was low. I thought the market would be down by more than that.
Most cards are down 2 or 3x. So putting an overall value at 15.9%, when you look at like cryptocurrency, which is down probably a lot more than 15.9%.
Yeah, down much more.
That makes me actually feel really good about my
You know,
card.
that 15.9 we just talked about, vintage may be a big part of the number.
Right, for sure.
If you rip vintage away from that, the market may be down more than that.
Absolutely.
Most likely is. Vintage could be up 8 to 12%, which is impacting that. So the total market, I mean, you're looking at modern cars past a certain year.
Yeah, I'd like to know how they got that number. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Feed the guys. Thank you for this data point, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Traded Griffs. I just got a deal. Great deal. 1911 Mecca tree speaker. Working on picking up a 54 Banks rookie. Price is getting more reasonable.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when it comes to like those 54 Banks or like any Mantle from the 50s and 60s or any of that vintage stuff, Ty Cobbs even, you know, like all of that stuff right now is everybody wants it, but you don't see it around because it's not there. Like it, you know, everyone that buys that stuff puts that stuff away usually.
And then we know like the order of things: Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron. Historically, Banks his prices have been below those people.
Yep.
Which again makes those cards a little more affordable. May not be affordable to all, but that 54 Banks compared to other cards in that set may be more affordable. You can still make a play. Trader Griffs knows that his philosophies and strategies, I'm usually rolling well because we've talked through some things, but I've seen other things that he's had on this page and stuff. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Demetrius says vintage is like a safe place. So yes, it is.
Yeah, and until it crashes, you know, that could always happen too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it will, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
I would say cards are only as safe as the people in the hobby, you know. That's why things like this and like tonight are so important for keeping the card community closer and together.
And what I love about this, I'm just going to put this out there, right? We have historically a breaker on, and we're talking about the whole hobby, right? So the people out there who say, "Oh, breakers, they don't," that's not true. And I know several people who I can sit down and have a great conversation with about the hobby that breaks cards on a regular basis, and who I see as leaders in the hobby. So that's not how we roll here.
There we go.
All right, Coffee Dad Collector, thoughts on Zion Williamson?
I like this one, Coffee Dad.
Play. You want to jump into this first, or you want me to jump into this?
I love Zion. I mean, I think Zion was the sleeper of 6 months ago. I was talking about picking up Zion. I picked up a few Zions at the Dallas before the Dallas. I didn't pick up an auto. I wish I would have because those have already gone up. But I think Zion's definitely the gamble of the 2022-2023 season.
Yes, he is.
I think it's either make or break year for Zion.
He is, yeah.
And I think all your fans are still holding on to their Zion cards like this, but they're so close to just
clinching on
letting them go. I think Zion's great, man.
Let me ask you this, though. Does he need a jump shot? A consistent jump shot?
He needs a lot of things, man. He needs a lot of things, but I'll tell you this, Zion was my first card in the hobby, and he got me excited about collecting. I think just watching Zion on the court, even though the Pelicans weren't maybe the best team, with Zion on there, they were looking like an all-star team.
Well, he was averaging 26 points a game and
right.
Rebounds. I mean, Zion was balling out before he got hurt.
Right.
I won't forget that. I'm not forgetting that. When I look at a player, right, it's the same thing for Ja Morant. I've talked about this before. I'm looking years out. And I'm looking at players that's like that player. Zion has a big body. He doesn't have a consistent jump shot. So that tells me he's going to be doing a lot of leaping and bounding, a lot of dunking, a lot of windmills, right? A lot of tip dunks, stuff like that. What does that do to his body for 8 seasons?
Definitely hurts it. He's going to definitely be a force to be reckoned with, but I think he can lose some weight. And it looks like he already has.
He already has. Yeah, he does.
And I think he can build that shot and build that agility. And I don't know, man. I'm just Zion is the man.
He's definitely a headline player. Like he's going to be in the headlines. He's going to give you highlights. I say this though: if he develops a mid-range shot, everybody better watch out.
Everybody better watch out.
Now, if he can fake a shot and take you off the dribble or reverse that, you think he's going off the dribble and he's sinking a 12 to 15 footer? He's deadly.
Now, for cards wise, though, I think for Zion, you really need to be looking for 10s. I think 10s are where you're really going to see that rise. I really like the silvers. Silver 10s right now. I mean, they're not like affordable, but if you can get into a silver 10 or a colored 10, there's a lot of colored Zion. But the silver compared to the colored consistently seemed like it was doing work even when he was injured, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Every prism silver is just sometimes better than color. A lot of people just prefer the silver.
And then if you want to dig deeper, you get into each year of the prism set. The print run on the silvers, the colors, all this stuff changes over time. Like if you go back to Giannis's first year, the silvers were very rare.
Yeah.
Very hard to find. So get down to that detail as well. What's going on in that year from a print run perspective? And then to give you some indicators to what he's doing. Some people I know moving Zion cards around on a short-term basis, thinking, hey, even if his career doesn't last a long consecutive run of years, the next 3 to 4, he's going to be somebody to talk about. He's going to be contributing hard on the court. So, and he made some statements, when he signed his contract that he doesn't plan to let people down. He doesn't want to let himself down. He's not going to let other people down.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to believe in people. So there's always a side of me that hopes that all these players that are young in their career pan out, have the career that they want. I think that'd be a cool thing. Zion Williamson, he could do a lot. Stays healthy.
To the moon.
That's right. He could do a lot. From the bench, base or more common stuff isn't seeing the high sales like before, but I find lower numbered cars are seeing high prices still.
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, I think obviously with the base, it's all about the pop report. But like we were talking about earlier, if I have a Zion base Prism 9 and you have a Zion base Prism 9 and you put yours on eBay and put it at $1 auction, it sells for 86, and I put mine on eBay as a buy it now and someone buys it for 109, what's the price? And that's been the biggest problem we've been dealing with for the last year on especially base cards.
True.
You have a lot of these people that are getting submissions back from 2 years ago and they can't pay for them, so they have to dump their cards really quickly, and then you get the guy that bought the Zion at 300 and just wants to get 100 out of it, and he's willing. If you're willing to wait and be patient, the prices do turn around. But a lot of this stuff has dipped so much because of panic, because of not being patient. The market's controlled by us.
Let me just ask this question. So base was really popular at one point, right?
Right.
People sending a lot of base cards to get graded to sell. Long-term effects of that is that a lot of this modern stuff base cards have high pop counts, right?
Right.
So in the long run, it kind of hurts the value of the card.
100%.
I don't think people were thinking like that though in the short term.
No, they weren't. And we didn't realize how many were out there, I don't think either. When you were sending in your LaMelo Prism base rookies, I don't think you realized how many other people were doing the same thing you were.
That's true. Just something to think about, I think, as we go forward. What are some of the print runs on stuff? What are we sending in?
I think you're already seeing it with this year's Prism football. I mean, look at the prices of the quarterbacks compared to last year.
Yeah. You know what I never understand though, to the moon? This is what I never understand. It always shocks me, right?
Mhm.
Let's say a new product comes out. People open it, break it, open it at home, no intent to sell. The prices are crazy. Like
Yep.
Brady out of the new football was selling it like $15,000, right?
Yep.
What, 2 weeks later it was $6,500.
Yep.
Don't we know this though? Don't we know that that's going to happen? And we still go through these trends. But we know
Every time.
fresh out the box, the price is always high. The Mac Jones that came out, prices were crazy: $1,000, $750. Car now is maybe $150.
Yep.
That always gets me. Like, we know this. Just wait.
Patience. It's all about wanting it now, though, man. I mean, how much are you going to pay for McDonald's if you want it at 11 o'clock at night and there's only open for another 30 minutes?
Right. That's why DoorDash is destroying the game.
Yep. How many times do we DoorDash?
You know what's funny, to the moon? I remember being in college and we'd be like, man, if they ever deliver to McDonald's, man, it's going to change everything. It's funny how that goes, right?
Right.
Feed the Guy says the only time I will ever get scared of any market is one simple fact. No competition in the market, no improvements. No improvements could lead to laziness. Thoughts? I can see that.
I agree with him 1,000%. I think that's really good. Competition's good, and the innovations that have happened in the last 2 years in the sports card market, specifically with like YouTubing and podcast and making a easier way to comp your cards, grading. There's just so many things, and
Grading changed everything.
improving every day is important for any industry. I mean, you're looking at places right now that are improving their shopping experience by moving it online or whatever it is. I mean, everybody's pivoting and making changes every day. But yes, if you don't have changes, you get lazy. People get bored, and you don't want that.
Yeah, continuous improvement. It's always good. I try to challenge myself to even look at some things differently. Like, you may be doing the same analysis on cards. I force myself to look at other players that I don't look at in the past to I'm gut checking myself.
Yep.
From the bench, say I believe in Trevor Lawrence, but I don't believe in Trent Baalke, the GM, at all to build around him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with the football team. It's not just the quarterback anymore.
Well, when I hear the name Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't know.
You shake your head.
Never believed in the organization to begin with. My belief is one go way beyond Trent.
Yeah.
And I think organizations and their culture wins the championship because it allows them to have a foundation to build upon, to bring the right personnel in to assess talent, and then the right players to play the game.
Right, 100%. I think
I haven't been shocked by a team that's won the Super Bowl or World Series or anything like that. I'm never shocked.
Something that really scares me right now is the amount of people who are buying football.
I've thought about this too. I've thought about that.
I don't know if you've noticed it, but I've seen a trend over the last month. Everybody is buying football with the expectation of the cards going up.
But is that because of a down market, though? Is that because people are looking? Let me try to find something.
Yes, I think that's something to do with it. And they're trying to learn from the past, But the sad thing is maybe only one or two of those quarterbacks is really going to see a rise,
Yep, true.
It's just going to be interesting. I've seen a lot of people putting their money into football, but once the football season starts, are those cards going to be as liquid as they are now in the off season?
What's interesting too about football is once you get beyond quarterbacks, I don't know. The life cycle of a running back is pretty short.
You want to know my play of the year?
What's that?
Ronald Jones, the second. He's playing for the Chiefs. He's going to be starting. Been buying a lot of his cards up.
Okay.
It's my play of the year. We have this on recording, so we can come back in football season.
What's up?
It's my play of the year, folks. That's the play.
Ronald Jones. Let's see here. FD just made a play because I'm a playmaker. Go ahead, Dexo. Bought a black Finite 1-of-1 Prism of Charles Woodson Raiders jersey. Color match also. Hyped up like in church choir singing gospel. Ooh.
Awesome.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
You know when you buy that card or that piece of memorabilia and you're just like, man, how did I just find that?
Let me ask you a question now. This is a question I ask some people. So the Jordan 86 and Dexo, everybody chime in on this. The Jordan 86, top card, right? But it doesn't have a print run on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's of the GOAT. So I understand why people are excited about it. LeBron's rookie year, Topps Chrome is kind of that iconic pose on the card. There are some other cards in his rookie year that have a lower print run. They're not as popular as that Topps Chrome, not as popular as the Black Border or the X Factor. What's going to happen in the future when you have the next star of the league have a national treasure out of 99 or have another card out of 12 or gold out of 10? Well, Luka's showing us a little bit on how this market is going to go with these low print runs and the players, the bomb. What are those card prices going to be 10 years from now?
Exactly.
It's going like we're talking about. Okay, this Black Finite 1-on-1. They have 1-on-1s of rookies. LeBron doesn't have a 1-on-1. If he had a 1-on-1, what would that card be selling for right now? Now, the other argument people could say
they do have a 1-on-1. It's called the triple logo, man.
That's true. But I'm talking about from his rookie.
I know what you're talking about. A rookie 1-on-1.
That is his 1-on-1. So, and the argument can be made, FD, there are a lot of 1-on-1s, right? But those cards are still probably more rare than some other cards in the past of some great players that have a print one and don't have a print one. I'm just asking myself. We get into these normal trends of our hobby. Forecast that thing out. Where are those cards sitting at? Are they blowing up gold in auction 20 years from now?
I don't know, man. I'm always a big fan of Immaculate. iMac and National Treasures and any of those big sets, when you can get, vertical logo patch to 99 to 25, whatever it is. I think those are always great plays. But when it comes to higher end, I don't really have as much knowledge because I don't deal as much in that aspect. But it's definitely a whole nother world, and a lot of it has to do with, like we saw with the triple logo, man, supply and demand.
And waiting till you see the auction of the triple logo Golden State that was graded at PSA 10.
Yep.
That's going to be interesting.
Right.
But I just see the short print runs and the high grades on some of this stuff. I just think we're in a down market right now. Where is that stuff 15 years from now?
Who knows? Maybe in someone's garage.
I think it's going to be to the moon, some of this stuff. I mean, we're going to see prices. We think the Hornets Wagner and some of these other cards, I think we're going to see some prices that are pretty high.
Yep. I mean, what's $1 15 years from now?
Yeah, right. That's a great question. Feed the guys, that 15.9 is the top 500 card index. There you go. You can just peel the onion back a little bit on that number. Okay.
I like it.
Like that a lot. Hero 3. Thoughts on Ja? Healthy longevity?
Ja's Ja, man. I mean, Ja's going to be a baller, but I think, I don't know. I mean, he's definitely had a good year, and I think if he can keep that up, he's got a long future ahead of him.
So, to the moon, I kind of feel like when I'm looking at Ja, I'm looking at Derrick Rose.
Yeah. I can see it.
I see the bounding. This is what I look at sometimes when I look at athletes, right? I see the stuff that when it hits Sports Center, everybody's like, wow, that looks great. But is it great?
Yeah.
If I'm a football player and I just try to run you over all the time to the moon, how long am I going to play?
Not long.
That one play of those 5 plays may look amazing, but I do know who Earl Campbell is. He tried that. Didn't work for him too long. That's what goes back to we talked about Zion. That mid-range jump shot can help you out. I would say Steph Curry would not be the point guard he is if he didn't have a long-range jumper.
Yep, exactly.
Because the knock against him when he came out, and I even thought it at the time, like, this guy's too small to play point guard. But the equalizer was, what can he destroy you from? So I think if Ja develops a mid-range shot, he showed last year he's working on his 3. Ja's a problem. But if Ja relies on his athletic ability of jumping over people, dunking on people, things of that nature, I don't know.
I don't know either. They have a pretty interesting team with Desmond Bane and everything now, though.
Desmond Bane's a player.
Yeah.
He's a player. He showed a lot in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the crazy stat is that when Ja was hurt, 28 games, I think Memphis won 21 of those 28 games.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish him the best, though. I love to see Ja play basketball. I also wanted him to finish a playoff series where it really matters. Not be hurt, injured, or indifferent. Be out there and be in the middle of things. Because what? He's been out a few years. He won Comeback Player of the Year. And, Comeback Player of the Year, right? Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
We'll see what he does now. Grizzlies' chances of winning the West. Now, Hero 3, you know that I don't see Grizzlies beating Golden State. I could be wrong. I just don't see that.
It's tough, man. I think this next year is, I mean, it just depends on trades, you know?
Trades and injuries.
I think the 76ers could do some big things next year.
If James Harden is in shape. Oh, yeah. Most definitely. You saw he took a pay cut to get the team better, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
I think he could do great.
I think the Warriors are going to do good. I think the Bucks could do huge things. I think you got the Suns. I mean, there's so many good teams right now. You know, the Grizzlies have a lot going for them, but they're young.
They do. They do have a lot going for them. That's a lot of talent. But to me, the biggest thing with the Grizzlies, like, Ja is Ja, right? What is Jaren Jackson Jr. doing?
We don't know.
Like, is he trying to grab a rebound? Or does he want to shoot a 3? Those are the questions I have for some players. Like, we talk about the big name players on the team. What's up with that guy who and we have a lot of people in the NBA right now that are over 6'9", 6'10". They don't want to be a power forward, and they don't want to be a center.
Yep.
They want to be a small forward. They want to shoot the 3.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's the Steph Curry effect. I don't know. Abraham says, who is your top team to make it to the Super Bowl this year? I guess the Buffalo Bills. You all know I got to go with Tampa.
It's tough, man. I think everyone's saying Bills, and I've heard nothing but Josh Allen the last 2 months. If you're going to go buy a card right now and somebody's looking for a card, it's Josh Allen. If you get a Josh Allen, it's probably the most liquid card in sports cards right now.
I agree. I agree with that totally. But let me ask you a question. We talked about Zion, make or break year, right? If Josh Allen doesn't make it to the Super Bowl, go far in the playoffs,
Yep.
that's a problem.
That is a problem. If I had to pick one team, I'm going to say the Chiefs again. I just think,
Okay.
like I said, Ronald Jones. I mean, I think you got a good thing going. But if I had to pick a spicy take, it'd be the Dolphins.
That is spicy. That's ghost pepper spicy right there.
I think they got a lot going for him this year. And I think with all the big trades, I think Tua, this is, like you said, his make or break year too.
Make a break for him. You think he has a strong? My question when I watch him, does he have a strong enough arm for the NFL?
I have no clue.
It just seems like he is. I don't know, and I don't know if the way he got hurt at Alabama with the hip, I just don't know if that's completely out of his mind. And I can understand why if it's not. That was a bad injury.
I think they got a lot of talent outside of him. I think he just needs to perform.
Well, he definitely has 2 wide receivers. Their tandem is the fastest in the NFL. I mean,
Yeah.
these guys cannot run anybody. So, we'll see. Who's his running back, though? Who's Miami's running back?
I'm not really sure. I just know they picked up, like, they have Waddle now. They have
Mhm.
Clyde. They have a bunch of people.
Okay.
Do some research. We'll talk about it next time.
It's all good, bro. You'll be back. We'll be back kicking it. From the bench, you sell the QB in the preseason? I think there's going to be QB plays up until week 4.
I think it depends on who it is. Like, if Josh Allen's hot right now and he does well, he's going to go up.
Mhm.
But if he doesn't do well, he's going to dip just like he did last year. So, guys like Josh Allen, you have to make your decision. How much can this card really go up from now? And if you're asking me, it's a lot. I mean, football has a lot of room to grow. Look at Burrows in the playoffs in the Super Bowl. How much those cards went up? How much they're at now? Like, if you're gonna make the play, you're either selling in preseason or you're selling around playoff and Super Bowl time. That's what I always ask myself. I mean, guys like Tua right now might be a great time to sell Tua.
That's why I asked that question.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. But I think you're right. It depends on the player. I
Guys
always feel about like week 4 or 5 of the season.
what's going to happen.
There are some people like Murray last year that we didn't know after week 4 or 5
No.
what was going to go down. But it's just interesting, man. When you win, everything works out for you from a collectability standpoint.
Yeah.
If you get there and don't win, then it doesn't work out. What's the quarterback that was with the Chargers? Rivers. Rivers is the guy. You look at his numbers. I looked him up the other day. Over 60,000 passing yards. I think over 400 touchdowns.
How many people are talking about Tatum?
True.
Look at Tatum cards compared to Curry cards the minute after they lost.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's how it goes. Now, if Tatum would have won just like Burrow, those markets would have got crazy.
Yeah.
Baseball card conundrum. What's up, fellas? So what's up? Good to have you here. From the bench, you think more parallels are more higher end products, and this era makes a big difference for not making this era a junk wax era. Even go back to 2004, Topps Chrome, only 4 parallels. My biggest issue, I know people talk about parallels, is cards with pieces of jersey not from a particular player or event. That needs to come to an end like right now.
Yep. I think Fanatics has a lot to do with this question.
Yeah.
Where they're going to take this, and I really believe that they're going to push certain products really heavy, but I think when it comes to the higher end products, they are going to make them a little more limited.
I think they're going to make them more limited. I think you're not going to see pieces of something that I don't know if To the Moon Ward or FD Ward, but it's in JD the collector's card.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to go bye-bye. We'll look back on that and be like, man, remember when they did that? And then that adds to the rarity of the card. I think they could also I've said this before, put a layer in where To the Moon, you threw the touchdown pass that won the Super Bowl or won the AFC Championship. Mm-hmm. Maybe a piece of your jersey now is in that card talking about your accomplishment in that game. Think about that. Now, who doesn't want that card? Who doesn't want something from Brady's third Super Bowl?
Piece of the football that he threw into the stands.
Who doesn't want that? Even if it's because we all know game balls. There are so many of them throughout a game. Maybe it's a game ball just from the first quarter that wasn't significant to winning the game, but it's still a game ball from the first quarter. I mean, to me, all that kind of stuff that makes it more and more rare, you can't duplicate that. That changes the whole game to me.
Yep.
Now you're sitting on stuff that market dip, something happens, that thing is still very rare. Get it in a high grade. There's only 4 of them made. Game changer. Apparently, we got some of that answer as I was behind a minute. It's all good. It's all good. Thoughts on the Ravens? They only go as far as their quarterback goes.
Ravens are tough, man. There's a lot of people buying Raven stuff right now. It's because it's cheap. Just like anything else, you just got to make that decision and stick with it. And it's either going to work out or it's not.
That's true. I think if he's healthy, though.
Lamar?
Yeah, if Lamar is healthy. I mean,
They have
I've
a
heard other
chance.
people talk about his accuracy throwing the football, things of that nature.
You own one of these yet?
No, I need to get one. I was going
Yeah.
to talk about that.
Yeah, this is by Show Your Slabs and they made this and they partnered with Slabstrong for the inside part, and it's a cool little necklace. I got this at Dallas. I got my Jordan in there. Great necklace for showing off your PC stuff.
It's a great necklace. I had the opportunity to spend some time with Show Your Slabs and Tim from Slabstrong yesterday. I mean, two great people. It was good to have conversations with them. I know they're going to be at the National. Those who are going, we'll see them there. And they'll probably be at other shows throughout the end of the year, but the National for sure. But that chain is cool, man.
Yeah, it is. They're
what
nice.
about that card in there? I remember when those emotions came out, sir.
Yeah, I got that at a good price. That's a card that we used to have raw, but
nice card, man.
Yeah, it is. That's another one. Anything's possible right now, guys. This was only $300.
And the history behind when Emotions came out, that was a thicker card throughout the entire series, and the artwork on them was like game changing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only so many cards to a box, so very cool. Tom says first 4 weeks don't count, and usually not typical of what goes on the rest of the season. Steelers started 4-0, but we're talking about the Steelers, man. Tom, you're talking about. I understand your point. It's 100%. But you also talking about Ben Roethlisberger, who you just don't know where Ben was going to be week to week. Steelers started 4-0 last year's beat Bills opener. Had Chiefs at 1-3. So first month is still getting warmed up. True, but
that would have been a time to sell your Steeler cards.
Yeah, that'd been time to make some moves there. There's Ben Roethlisberger in general. He was always that Phillip Rivers kind of quarterback. He's going to put up numbers, get to the big game, and then disappear a little bit or get hurt. I'm pretty sure his lower extremities right now are happy that he's not playing football. Because if you go back, and I do this on a regular basis, you go back and watch the last Super Bowl, Jerome Bettis, just watch how the mechanics of Ben Roethlisberger and how he moved compared to the guy that just retired. It's a totally different player.
You know what's crazy? We're everyone's talking about football and basketball. Why is no one talking about soccer?
Well, people were talking about, this is a great question.
Yeah.
People were talking about soccer until some people who were talking about soccer or buying soccer cards didn't see the returns that they wanted. And then people stopped talking about soccer.
Mm-hmm.
But I know some people here in LA, and pretty sure all over the country, that are still they advocate soccer, and they're buying soccer cards and adding it to their collection.
Yeah, and F1
of the GOATs in soccer, of the GOATs.
We got the World Cup coming up. I think if you're going to see anything at the National that you haven't seen at a show recently, I believe F1 and soccer are going to be representing heavy. And if you get the foreigner crowd that I think we're expecting it this year, there's going to be some really big F1 and soccer sales that might surprise you.
It'd be cool to see.
Definitely will rely on the foreign crowd. I've heard a lot of things about the foreign crowd that we didn't really get to see last year, and a lot of people aren't ready for. But supposedly there's a lot of foreigners that travel up to the National.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me. I'm not surprised by that.
So if that happens, I think soccer, basketball, and especially F1 as well, I could see some really big turns at the National.
What do you think about, let's go back a little bit here. What do you think about, people were talking about F1 heavily, and soccer heavily. Now you don't hear that. Why do you think that is?
I think one of the biggest things I've seen over the last couple months is people have really started looking at what they own, and they're like, I love my what is it? I mean, I love my Mbappe card, but I don't like soccer. So I'm gonna sell that Mbappe card and go get a Justin Herbert that I really like. I think you see a lot of people that got into stuff because of the hype, because of making money, and now they're really going through their collection and taking out, oh, this is worth this aspect, and making it more about, oh, I want to collect this. There's still plenty of people on F1 though. I mean, you go to a Dallas show, you go to any of these shows, there's still a lot of people on F1, and F1 really didn't see a boom, I don't think, till the last, Dallas show really. But yes, it's definitely gone down a little bit.
Why do you think? This is a question I've asked some people. F1 came out in 1970.
Mhm.
Why do you think people now are just now talking about F1 cars? There have been cars for years.
Everybody's looking for the next play, man. Why do you think people are looking into, everything new that comes out? And why do you think these companies are starting to produce products? Anything that's new is always hot at the beginning. It's just the longevity of it, But I think F1 has a place in this hobby. I also think soccer does. I think hockey is the most slept on of all of them. But in Canada, you go and that's all you see is hockey cards.
True.
Um,
And in the US, it's like a regional play.
Right. And I think when we start getting into these alternative sports, when you only have so much money in your bankroll and you only have so much room in your card case, you really have to diversify what you're going to be doing. And I think a lot of people have chosen football or basketball just because that's what they know. But then you have these people that are starting to know soccer, starting to know F1, or maybe they watched it their whole life and you never knew that about them. And they're getting into it now, and I think F1's the most interesting of all of them because of the box prices and how much the product really costs. There's not really a good entry level into F1.
No, it's not. True.
And there's only really 2 or 3 drivers where you're really chasing. So it's definitely interesting.
All good facts to the moon. Dexfall, FD, people completely sleeping on Kyle Pitts. He's going to put up monster numbers this year. No wide receiver and Atlanta behind every game. We'll see. We'll see what Kyle Pitts does.
We'll see.
He has a situation where he could be very successful. Who's his quarterback? That's a question I have. See how that just went, Dexfall? Now, Dexfall, you tell me, who's his quarterback, man? Because if you're going to put up some numbers, right, somebody's got to get you that ball.
Who is it?
I have no idea. I know Matty Ice is out, so.
Man.
See what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think that's how my mind works when it comes like, how does this happen? How does that happen? When I see a great running back like Jonathan Taylor, that team was about to run him into the ground. Didn't really have a quarterback that was helping him. And his wide receivers were, here or there. So that's his turn to give the ball to him. And then he's about to be like Emmitt Smith when he was running 400 times a season. Like that, there's nothing sustainable about that.
The Cowboys did have a really strong run last year.
They did. Then towards the end of the year, the wheels start falling off some stuff.
Yep.
Still trip off the fact when what's their quarterback's name? Dak. When Dak ran down the middle of the field and slid, I just think sometimes people don't know the rules of the sport. Like that, I was in my living room like, what is he doing? Like he knows he can't stop the clock. Did he get some? I mean, I don't want to relive that.
Right.
That still blows me away.
I'm ready for football season. I don't know about you guys. I think that's why people were buying so many cards,
Yeah. Well, you got to admit now, once you get through with the NBA Finals, what are you watching?
You're watching tennis.
Yeah, I mean, you're watching tennis. The All-Star game is on. People are not watching baseball at home like they used to.
this is probably the first time in a long time. I think people have really slept on baseball this year.
Well, let me ask you this, right? This season came in a lot of prospects. Not many of them are panning out. So this is
Wander,
why I think, yeah, this is like you look at Wander. Yeah, Wander is out there. His hand is broke. Harper got hit by a pitch the other day, broke his thumb.
Bobby Witt,
Look, Bobby Witt. Look at Bobby Witt.
Casey.
What's the other guy?
I don't know. That Chicago guy is the big one right now. What's his
Bo
name?
Bichette. What is Bo Bichette doing?
Oh yeah.
I mean, and then like you look at Julio Rodriguez, who was talking about him 3 months ago?
Nobody.
Nobody. I went to a show that was Wanda everywhere, right? It was like 2 weeks before the season started. Wanda was like on every table. Now you go to the show. What's Wanda at? I don't see Wanda anymore. That's how
It's crazy how that can change so quickly.
Very quickly, man. Very quickly. People are like, yeah. And then you see, even when Curry was winning the championship, a lot of his cards, you don't see those out. You know, people are putting those someplace else. You may see more of the stuff at the National than you probably have ever seen. But Cal Pitts, Dexpo, let me know something. Oh, Mariota. Oh, wow. Brother. Ooh.
That's the guy you opened the redemption. Marcus Mariota, who?
Cal Pitts may have a hard time, man. I don't know. Mariota. Let's hope he has some game left. I don't know. From the bench, you had guys' minds super heavy on Messi, Mbappe, etc., and never watched them play a single match. You're absolutely right about that. I've talked to some people. And a lot of these people heard someone tell them that's probably who you should buy.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, is we're a lot of us are a bunch of followers, not do your own research people, and that's why I always say since day one, do your own homework. You know, if you copy someone else's homework, it's only going to last so long.
Especially if I put to the moon on my homework. But put your name down, bro. No good.
No good.
From the bench, I'm a big hockey guy. LOL. Hope to see it grow more in the States, etc. Well, ESPN, ESPN is bringing more to our homes. TNT having them last year and going forward. I mean, we can only hope, you know.
Yeah, I think
there may be different viewers that watch more of hockey.
I think what hockey really needs is a cooler product. You have these young gun cards, which are your main cards. Make those cards cooler. There's a lot of your hockey stuff that's worth money it looks like a base card right now. People don't like that look.
I wonder how much of this information is transferred across sports within the company that's making the cards. That I don't know.
I don't know either.
If you see something that's a refractor or prism silver, or you see something that people are really reacting to.
Well, I look at the Prism this year when they did the draft picks and then they did the Prism. They redid the colors and that stuff, and it looked almost the same. I miss the old Prism look they had personally, but
From the bench says Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ritter will be Cal Pitts QB. Had to get excited for a 314 team's receiver tight end, no matter how amazing he is. Yeah, it's hard to. Just go back to who's the quarterback. Carson Wentz.
I think he's guessing for the quarterback.
Oh, I thought he was just saying, like, what is he going to do?
Oh.
I think you're right, but I don't think Carson Wentz is doing much.
You know,
the year he broke his leg, he was about to win MVP. He was about to win MVP, man.
That's another guy that came out though, and it was a Burrow or Herbert or Mahomes effect too. You know, he got some hype.
You had him and Jared Goff in the same draft. Where are they now?
Where are they now?
And I don't know if I can name another quarterback. I may be wrong from that draft. That's just how it is, though. The quarterback position in the NFL is very hard. Big John, what's up? Good to have you here. Christopher Morrow is awesome. Who is Christopher Morrow?
He's not a YouTuber.
Is it?
Not sure.
No, he plays baseball. He plays for the Cubs.
Oh, okay. That's who I'm talking. Oh, yeah, because I said that guy from the Cubs
Yeah,
stepped
you
up.
talked about him already. Yep.
Yeah,
23 from the Dominican.
yeah,
Yeah, he hit that home run that night.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know him. Okay. All right, Big John. I'll keep my
Thanks,
eye out, man.
thanks, Big John.
Tom, they have all the flashy cards in hockey. They just don't sell as well as Young Guns or aren't as valuable. It's all about Future Watch. All those in hockey.
Gotcha. Tells you what I know.
Colorado Sports Too. When will baseball get hot? So much talent seems like more than maybe when there was Mays, Musial, Mantle, Aaron. You think it's more now? And
See,
more playing time in the same All Star.
I almost think the vintage baseball this year took away the hype from the modern baseball.
But these young, like we just talked about, these young guys aren't panning out.
Yeah.
You walk up to a table that's an $8,000 Wander Franco card, and I don't know what it's valued at now.
Mm-hmm.
And you talking about that's the biggest lottery kind of in cards. You buy that card, he does pan out. It's going crazy. If he doesn't, you can't move it for much.
I do think as we start getting into maybe more of the finals of baseball, you'll definitely see some stuff obviously go up and down, but this year was just a weird year.
Where's Aaron Judge cards at? Like I've been looking at his cards. To me, they haven't responded to the year he's having.
No, he's having an amazing year.
His cards have not, at least what I'm seeing.
I agree.
Oh, and no one here has talked about Aaron Judge.
We opened a bunch of his rookie boxes.
It's interesting. Colorado Sports Too. Love seeing hockey on TV more, obviously, and especially with the Avalanche winning. You couldn't miss a game the last couple of months. Hockey is like from the bench, is like baseball with purists. Young Guns has been the same since the 90s. You have the exclusive parallel out of 100, high gloss out of 10, and clear cut parallel.
Got it.
Interesting. Dex Flow. FD is Jamar Chase, best non-QB buy right now. I can tell you this, Dex Flow. I promise you this. I'm gonna look in this camera, and I'm gonna promise you this. Every game this year, he's getting double teamed. Every game. There will be a corner on him and a safety scraping over, or if he's underneath, there's gonna be a linebacker spying on him. You're not gonna see I'm telling you, just telling you, you're not gonna see these games that you saw last year.
Ronald Jones, the second.
Ronald Jones.
There it is. That's all I'm going to say.
Let me look up Ronald Jones.
Well, I think when it comes to non-QBs, I don't know if there's ever a great buy because the only time those really pan out is if they win a Super Bowl or, do really well in a season. There's not many non-QBs that people are consistently, oh my God, I need it,
I mean, even if you look at LT cards.
Besides the rookie year, obviously, when you're breaking.
But some of this stuff, like some of these legendary running backs from the late 90s, early 2000s, even 2010, like some of this stuff is still affordable. Terrell Owens, nobody's knocking down the door for his rookie card.
No.
Randy Moss, there's some stuff out there that's still kind of affordable. It's not like crazy prices. And I'm talking about some legendary people right now that
legends.
I mean, even Peyton Manning doesn't get. Look at Drew Brees. Drew Brees doesn't get close to what Tom Brady's done.
Look at Tom Brady cards though right now. I mean, look at his Bowman's chromes. Look at his Topps chromes.
It's interesting.
Where's the market going to go next? That's the question on everyone's mind.
Colorado says he was talking about Wentz. I was guessing. Didn't remember he's not a Colt. Yeah, he's a Colt. Yeah, Big John, Cubs rookie outfield. He has a nice glove as well.
I think the National is going to be fun though. I think it's going to really be a true tell of where the hobby's at I think it's really going to show people that the hobby is alive, even if it's not last year's national. The one thing I think you need to keep an eye on, though, as I said earlier, is the booths, is the amount of money these vendors are putting into their display. I think you're definitely going to see a lot of these guys level up their displays this year.
I agree.
I think just looking at the Mint Collective, I think it's going to feel like a museum effect a little bit when you're walking around some of these booths, because there's a lot of money that goes into just the booth itself. And keep that in mind when you're walking around. Don't be afraid to take it in. But I liked your point about taking breaks too. Don't take it in too fast.
Yeah, take breaks. It'll be you. I'm a firm believer in finding what's there for me.
Yep.
Like I don't feel like I'm to the moon's beat me to the table to look at a particular car. And there are a lot of cars that really interest people. So if you're looking for something in particular, I think you'll find it. I still saw stuff last day 5 minutes before the door is closed. So it's not. I'm a firm believer, and when I go to a show, I'm gonna find the cars that's there for me. If I go early, if I went after lunch and check some areas that I didn't check before. Also, don't skip over the people that are around you. And I think you alluded to this earlier. While you're at the National, there are some amazing people walking by. People you can build with. I met To the Moon at the National.
Yeah, we met just randomly too.
I had seen you a little bit before that, and we was walking by. I said, "To the moon," and then you turned around. Here we are. Don't walk past people that you can get to know. That might be somebody that's 5 miles on the road. You just haven't met them yet.
And don't be afraid to, go up to somebody just randomly that you might like. I mean, if you see a FD at the National, FD's not going to turn you away because you're a fan coming up to him. Just don't bother him during a deal. But a lot of these guys, like these YouTube celebrities, these Instagram celebrities, go say hi to them. That's what they want you to do. Don't be afraid to go up to them. It's half the fun for them as well. I promise.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very, very true. Hold on here. I got a phone ring. And I'm back, To the Moon.
And he's back.
And I'm back, people. Can't stop the show, baby. All right, from the bench. The problem with the Legends not selling high, do you think they should sell higher or they're at a proper price? I tend to lean towards sell higher. Also, Wentz is with Washington now. Oh, I mean, none of us know what this guy is.
Yeah, I think when it comes to prices, we control the market, and I think that's one thing that a lot of people forget is what are we basing our last price on? Is a sale that somebody else made, and never be afraid to charge more than the last comp, guys, because that comp is there because somebody chose to sell that card. You probably won't get more than the last comp, but you don't be afraid to set your prices, but understand the way that this market has been built is around someone else's price. Or the price of the last sold item of what someone was willing to pay. So when you're selling stuff, understand that going in. And if you have something that maybe is someone sold it for 600, you want 1,000, it might not be the time to sell that card.
Yeah, it may not be.
This
may not be the market for that either.
That's once again, though, where we're talking about when you're packing for the National or you're packing to go to a card show, you don't have to take every single card. If you have a card that's 1,000, you want 1,000, but it's worth 600 right now in the market, I probably wouldn't bring that card to the National because you're just going to deal with headaches all weekend and maybe eventually sell that card for 500 when you didn't really want to sell that card. It's better maybe you just leave that card at home and then take something else.
And is this the National? Now that you're talking about this, I'm thinking about, is it? I don't sell a lot, so I'm just asking people that do. Is this the National to bring the turn items? The items that may be at a cheaper price point There may be some star players. There may be more. You may get more reception at your table. I want to see that Julio Rodriguez card that may be $300 than something that's $6,000. I don't know.
This is the national to bring one thing and one thing only: paper, green paper with USD on it.
You know, that's what I did last year.
That's all you need.
Well, I didn't bring any cards to the national. I walked in with what I thought my budget was,
Mhm.
and I tried to work that budget to the moon. I'm trying to get everything I can out of that budget.
That's all you need. If it as for cards though, I think this is the year for football. This is the year for basketball. This is the year for everything. You just have to figure out your table almost needs to tell a story, you know? Some people don't have $80,000 cards. Some people have a bunch of $100,000 cards. This is the place to bring those cards. But if you don't have that and you're set up, what's your story for your table? If someone's going to walk up, what's going to keep them at your table or make them stop at your table? You know? Once you figure that out, you'll be good. But if you just put a bunch of cash in a showcase, that works just as good too, I promise.
But I'm just gonna say again, like, have fun. Let's say you don't find the gym cards that you're looking for. You don't sell the gym cards you thought you were gonna sell. Did you meet some gym people though?
Right.
Did you build some gym relationships? Kick it off? Did you go have dinner with somebody you didn't know and build a relationship there and laugh over a meal? If you can walk away with that, did you get some pictures with some people that you didn't know before? If you can walk away with that, I'll tell you, I think it's a good show.
It's a good show.
All right, we got Colorado Sports 2 said, with the legends in the last 30 years, there have been 30 to 1,000 different rookie cards.
Wow.
I like Hank Aaron, who has one, so the price is much more stable and higher than Moss. Let me dissect what this is here. With these legends in the last 30 years, there have been 30 to 1,000 different rookie cards. I would say this though, there may be 30 to 1,000. There's still levels to everything, right? When I look at a modern day, let's say I'm looking at Ja. What product is the rookie card from? Is it numbered? What is the grade of the card? Is the patch one color looking like a napkin, or is it 3 or 4 colors? There's still levels to this. This is not you put more rookie cards out there. Now, a positive would be that because there's more rookie cards, and that rookie card of a player is more accessible now. So if you have a person who can afford the national treasures, there are other cards for them to still have in their collection. So whenever people make statements about how much is out there, I see positives and opportunities for both sides.
I agree. I think, when it comes to buying a card and you're looking at stuff like that, there's a lot of factors, where was that, what was that jersey, from, based on what you can see. There's a lot of 4-color patches already, but like if it has a bunch of the ones that are sold that only have 1 or 2 color patches, it might be a play if you can get it at the 1 or 2 color patch price.
It's true.
Well, FD, I got to get out of here.
Brother, I appreciate you coming on. It's always a pleasure. We'll have you on again soon.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Thank
you. I appreciate everyone for being here. To the moon. You don't know how much this means, bro.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.